Talking hockey, Roldie and Rupper talking hockey. Legendary coach coming.
Hello and welcome to That's Hockey Talk. I am your host, Nick Morado. It's a beautiful night for talking hockey on the internet, and that magical, wonderful voice you just heard was our pal of the pals, our north of the border friend at Bubba Gumpino. Gumps, how you doing?
The boys are buzzing.
Gumpy's on cloud nine, of course, because we are going to talk to Dallas Stars head coach Rick Bowness tonight, courtesy of our other friend, our other co-host, Stanley Cup champion, one of the legendary Danbury Trashers himself, Mike Rupper. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, boys. I missed you guys last week. You guys did a hell of a job holding it down. Gumps, were you able to sleep last night? Were you sitting there? I mean, this is like you had your Stars pajamas on, your footies on, and you're in bed just like staring at the ceiling, or what?
Yeah, it's 2 hours a night at this point, Rupper. Maybe 1.5, half an hour less last night.
Hey, we'll get into it too with Rick Bowness here coming up. But man, what a huge win for the Stars last night, man. That was like their moment to flex, right? Like we're coming. I think you got to look out for the Stars now.
They're on a different level. Like I've like even when they made the Stanley Cup, they weren't playing like this,
right?
Like this offensive minded. Like it is. I don't know if it's sustainable, but let's hope it is.
I think it is. I mean, look, they made the Stanley Cup final, and then they have a bit of a down year and a battle in COVID, and it feels like they're finally past all that. It feels like they're finally past the COVID and the injury bug, and now it feels like they got their guys in there. They handed out some long-term deals, and they got some guys locked up, and it feels like the goalie situation is starting to figure itself out. We know we've made multiple jokes about them having fucking 5-6 goalies on the roster. It seems like they've got solid options in net. Yeah. And I mean, look,
we're gonna
one of the hottest teams in the league.
We're gonna have to ask Bones how many nets they set up at practice. Fucking 4 aside, dude. Jesus.
Hey, before we get to Bones, gotta mention this. Boys, we were calling for it. We said, hey, give us the diagonal Pittsburgh Jerseys 66. And he listened and he answered, and we got him. Couple weeks, these babies are coming out on the ice. Rupper, I saw you tweeting these. You look fired up. You remember these things? I was, as a kid, this was like 92, 93. I think they started rocking these, and it was awesome. They only wore them in black, and they haven't worn them since the early 90s. Now they're back.
You know who else was rocking it? Snoop in Gin and Juice video.
What
put it on the map right there. I remember that as a kid. And I was like, whoa, those are the Penguin jerseys right there. So I love them. You guys called it right there. Hey, we'll get into that later. The coin had a big call yesterday as well. But how about your guys' call? I mean, you just had that last episode. We want these back. Mario's a big fan, watches this podcast every episode, and he granted your wish. So I can't wait for these things.
Listen, man. I don't want to get too into it. I don't toot my own horn too much. I've been hot lately, okay? I asked for the jerseys. They got them. We went 9-0 the other night on the ice and gambling. The coin has been rolling almost as good as the Dallas Stars have been rolling, and we might as well get into it now. It looks like it's time to chat with a legendary man. He just surpassed a record that I don't think anyone thought would be broken for a long time, 2,500 career NHL games manned behind the bench. The coach of one of the hottest teams in the league right now, Mr. Rick Bowness. Rick, thank you so much for joining us, sir.
My pleasure. Look forward to it.
Hey, Bones. Thank you for hopping on here. And I'll just full transparency for the people watching here. They're in the chat and are going to be watching this. I spent about 5 hot minutes playing for Bones, but I'll tell you what, man, it made an impression on me. And I'm pumped to have you on here. Congratulations, man. 2,500. I saw the post-game presentation kind of with the puck there by Jamie Benn. Can you take us through last night and kind of what that meant for you?
Well, it meant an awful lot, Rapper. First of all, we made a huge mistake in Phoenix letting you go. Well, we did. You're wonderful. One of the best teammates a guy could ever ask for to play for. You did a lot of good things to help a team win. So I think it was our loss when we lost you in Phoenix, and you made me a better coach while we had you. So, but last night was special, and As you know, Roper, in our business, you move around a lot, and all you got to do is look at the number of teams I've coached over the years. And it's been, there's 38 years, so you are going to coach a lot of different teams. But every time you look at it, you say, well, that means every time you go into a new city, you have to go home and tell your wife and your children, okay, Dad got fired. We're moving. We got to sell the house. We got to go to a new house. We got to go to a new neighborhood. Got to find new friends. Got to find new schools. So it's been a wonderful journey for all of us, but I could not have done it without my wife, Judy, and the kids' support. And I always talk about this story is that, every time I got fired and we were moving, we always had a little family discussion about, okay, do you want Dad to try to do something else? And it was always unanimous. No, Dad, we're a hockey family, and let's go on to the next city. And an instance of that is when I got fired in Ottawa, I think that was 95. Anyways, New Year's, I got hired by the Islanders right away. So we decided to drive the kids down to New York for the weekend. And all of a sudden the guilt hits you as a father, right? Like you're saying, my God, what am I doing to my family? What am I doing to my kids? And all of a sudden a little voice in the back seat said, it's okay, Dad, we're a hockey family, right? So again, it was a big thrill last night for me, and it was a big thrill for my family because we all know the sacrifices they've had to make over the years.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's you nailed it, man. It's you couldn't do what you did without or have done up to this point without their support. I look back to, I remember talking to Dan Bilesma when I was in Pittsburgh, and I played against Dan as a player, and then he obviously had that great run with the Penguins and won the Cup in 2009. And I was just asking him, like, when did you know you were going to coach, and how did you know you wanted to get into it? And he's like, you know what, honestly, one of the things that for me getting him as a player traveling around and spending time different minor league organizations in the NHL, he goes, I just started paying attention. I was like, okay, this coach does this and it works. This coach, that didn't really get our room kind of on the same page. And he's like, I started he's like, I literally kept a book on what works, what didn't work, what I liked, what I didn't like as a player. He's like, and I just tried to bring that all together when he started, coaching. And I just think of you, 2,500 games. That's dating over 5 decades, or sorry, coaching within 5, segments of Jesus Christ. Like, you understand what I'm saying? You got me, Bones. Maybe there's a good reason you traded me. Maybe I couldn't keep track of the forecheck. I don't know. But anyways, no, you played in parts or coached in parts of 5 decades. Thank you. And so, with that being said, like, I don't know how much you pay attention to it, but we got, Nick on here is a big Pittsburgh sports fan. And I'm not trying to poke fun at this situation, but like there's something coming out of the Pittsburgh Steelers the other day about how what do they need to do as far as working harder. And one of the players said, well, we think playing music at practice will make us work harder. And all I'm going to say about that is if you've coached in 5 separate decades, like that's a mindset that's changed over time immensely from when you first started coaching till now. So how have you managed to manage the players and see the players and connect with the players over that time?
Well, first of all, as a coach, you have to adapt as you did from where you came into the league and when you left the league. Different generations are coming in, and different generations, they have their own way. They have a different way. And as a coach, you have to adapt to them. I mean, they're not going to come in now and adapt to the coach. It's a different mentality now. But I always go back, Rupert, to when I was a player, and I wasn't a very good player. There was one game in the National Hockey League, and I sat on the bench the whole game. So I went into the coach the next day and I said, give me something here. Like, I hate sitting there. Give me something I can work on that I can get on the ice. And the response was, well, you have to work harder. Well, all I had was a work ethic, man, because I knew I wasn't a very good player. And what struck me then, and it stayed with me. And when I got into coaching, I always said, I'm going to coach the way I wanted to be coached. And I think that's helped me over the years as well. And which, just be honest with the players, you're going to tell them things they don't want to hear, but it's rather than keep it from them and come up with some ridiculous reason why they're not playing or they're missing shifts. Just be honest and upfront and look them in the eye. And that's how I wanted to be treated as a player. And from the day I got into coaching, that's how I've coached. I'm just going to coach the way I wanted to do. I think there's been times it's cost me a job, which is fine. That doesn't bother me, because if I'm going to get fired, I'm going to get fired doing it my way. I'm not going to try to change myself in my approach to the game. It cost me a job, then it cost me a job. But I have to be true to myself. And again, the biggest thing I've tried to do over the years is just coach players and talk to players the way I wanted to be treated, which was with respect. And I've always tried to do that. And the game, there's a lot of changes in our game today. The game's a lot faster and everything else, but the basic fundamentals of the game have not changed. And so we continue to preach those and teach the principles that you stick to it. And regardless of the score, when I worked with Al Arbor in the Islanders, he always just said, play the right way no matter what the score. You just play the right way and you always have good habits. And I've kind of lived with that one as well. But you got to be true to yourself. You got to be yourself. And fortunately, it's carried me this far.
Yeah, I mean, when you look back to and you start thinking, I mean, I remember for you guys watching that don't know what the timing when I played under coach here was right. It was right before the lockout, right? So was that 03-04 season, right at the end of trade deadline, got traded to Arizona, and you were the interim coach at that time. And so then we go into the lockout, we come back, and that's when Wayne Gretzky gets hired as head coach that summer. And I remember, Wayne Gretzky was like an idol of mine growing up. And this would just speak to how players wanted to go through a wall for coach here. It's like when Wayne was announced that he was going to be the coach, I remember I was kind of like, oh, I like Bones, and some of us were talking and honestly, no knock on, I mean, it's Wayne Gretzky, but I'm just saying, like, guys, you had that ability to make guys want to play for you. And I feel like that's something that's kind of hard to get right out of players. So over the years, whenever your name comes up, people are like, oh, that's a player's coach. Is that something that you've liked having that label? Or because it could be, people can assume that means you're a pushover, and you're certainly not that.
No, I'm not a big believer in labels. Like, I've coached the defense and the penalty killing for years, and all of a sudden they're saying, well, he's a defensive coach. Yeah, when I worked in Vancouver and Tampa, we led the league in scoring. So I'm not a big believer in labels. And again, to me, it goes back to being true to yourself. There's times you got to get after a player and you got to get in his face. There's no question. You can't hesitate to do that. So am I a player's coach? I don't know. I'm not a believer in labels. You got to coach the way you think you got to coach. You got to play the way you think your team has to play. And then you go with that. So, I know I've heard that, but I don't put a whole lot of, honestly, I've never put a whole lot of attention into that. I just go there every day and be me and do what I got to do. So let's go back to discussion on the Pittsburgh jerseys, because I remember the blue and white, and they were great uniforms. And I was working for the Bruins when Pittsburgh changed their colors to black and white, or black, gold, and white. And that was the same year, I think, Vancouver. Remember Vancouver came out, they had the V's and all the black. Yeah. Well, Harry was going crazy. Well, is every team in the league going to go black, gold, and white now? So, but I do remember the blue jerseys, and they were nice. But I do love the Pittsburgh jerseys now as well. Good call.
Yeah, no, the blue ones are sweet. We had those. We had those in the Winter Classic in 2011. And I love them. And the good thing about it, and I think you guys would, I mean, you guys got those bright jerseys now. And I think you take us behind the scenes, because I always talk with this. I'm like, people are all like, oh, I like that third jersey. I don't like that third jersey. I want to see more of those shiny helmets. I don't want to see more of those shiny helmets. I'm like, guys, you don't understand. It doesn't matter. If the players win, they'll wear them more. If they don't win, they're going to be like, get these things out of here right now. Is that a real thing?
No, yeah. Well, remember last summer, the Boston Red Sox, I'm a Red Sox fan, they won a game with the yellow jerseys. I think they wore them for the next 2 weeks. And I'm saying, where these guy uniforms come from? Well, that's the Red Sox are wearing gold or yellow, whatever they were. But I think you're right. We had So if the players win a game, and I'm not superstitious at all, but some guys just, oh no, we got to do that again, or I've got to walk to the rink the same way. But I had that gold helmet on. We got to do that again as quick as we can. So some players are superstitious. Some guys, it just doesn't matter. So,
Coach, you said you're not superstitious, but one of the guys on your team, Tyler Seguin, is notorious for being has to be the last guy off the ice. Have you ever talked to him about that? Is it
No.
like that mental battle has to be insane of just having to be the last guy off the ice every single time?
The more superstitions you have, you got to drive yourself crazy, right? Everything's got to fall into lane. But no, I don't touch the players' superstitions. If that's what they need to get ready, then that's what they need to get ready. You start getting in their head about that, you could be raising doubts. And anyways, if that's what he needs, hey, go for it. And he's throwing pucks to kids and everything. So I think that's great for the fans. I think it's wonderful for the kids at our games that a player is actually showing interest in getting them part of the game. So I don't mind those things.
We talked in one of our last episodes about Sid and some of his superstitions, and those things, they seem to be working for him. But when you're looking back over the time, I mean, we were talking about before we got on air here, and it was like you had Alexander Daig. You're back in those early Senators days. I mean, you look over some of the guys you've seen over the years. Is there any certain guy or story that was just like, guys did some weird shit before games, like it just got them ready? Do you remember any?
Yeah, there's one. Actually, Sid lives. I have summer home in Nova Scotia. And I'm on one end of the lake, and Sid and Nate McKinnon are at the other. And I keep telling them they're at the wrong end of the lake. They should.
Does Sid drive? Go ahead.
Do you remember Danny Markov?
Yeah.
So Danny Markov used to smoke. So we were before a game. We're trying to have a meeting. And where's Danny? Where's Danny? Then I find out he's in the trainer's room. He's having a cigarette. And he's blowing the smoke into the dryer, right? So he was a recovering alcoholic, and he said, "I'm not drinking anymore, but I smoke." He said, "Bones." He said, "You want me to smoke or you want me to drink?" Keep smoking, Danny. Meeting's in 2 minutes when you finish.
Oh, I love it, man. I love it. If it works, then you gotta let them go, right? And that's why the guys love you.
Exactly. Sometimes you got to stay out of their way. That's the best thing you can do. Stay out of their way, man. Let them go.
Listen, over the last little bit here, Gump's up here in the corner. He's been telling us every time we come on. I already said Nick's from Pittsburgh, so we get the Pittsburgh talk here, and obviously our boss Pat McAfee is a big Pittsburgh fan, so we get that side of it. Well, Gumps is a huge Dallas Stars fan. He's from Vancouver. But he's a Stars fan. He's been telling us for weeks now. He's been saying, pesky Stars, they're coming. I'm telling you, they're coming. They're coming. And you made an interesting, I don't know, maybe you could expand on this because, working at NHL Network and on the media side, sometimes the things that coaches say gets misconstrued. It was brought to my attention, and I saw that you said something on the lines of, I know what's wrong with this team, and we're going to fix it. Can you expand on that? What happened? The team looks great right now.
Well, first of all, as you know, as a coach, we can. What I meant by that was I see what's wrong, and we're going to address it. Now, the players have to fix it when they go on the ice, but it's clear as coaches to us what was going wrong, and we were going to address it, and we did, and we were going to fix it, and we did. But to fix it, you need the players' total buy-in. We were giving up way too many goals early in the year, and we weren't scoring any. We were going chance for chance, but we were losing games because we couldn't put the puck in the net, and the puck was going in our net. So we had to tighten things up until we could start scoring some goals. So we put a lot of focus on our forecheck and our neutral zone now. And I think we're the number one team in the league, and not allowing the team to carry the puck into the zone. So we worked a lot hard on those areas so the teams weren't coming in, getting set up, making plays. If we forced them to dump it in, okay, war's on. You get in there, you win the one-on-one battles, get your numbers back and get the puck out of the zone. So we could see what was wrong. We had to tighten this up in all three areas. It started with the forecheck, not giving up the odd mans. It started in the neutral zone, pressuring the puck more, getting our defense to stand up, forcing them to dump the puck in a lot more. And then it goes back to the breakouts, getting everyone back and talking to each other and moving the puck out. So when I said that, I said, yeah, I know what's wrong, and we're going to address it, and we're going to fix it. But again, the only way we can fix it is if the players bought in, and the players bought in completely. And we had 5 new bodies around the team, and it just took a little while to get everything to gel. And right now, even last night was probably the worst game we've played in this stretch, but our goaltending was unreal. Braden Holtby was unreal last night, the saves he made, but that's going to happen. There was earlier in the year, we played a great couple of games and we lost. only because we couldn't score. So, Rep, 82 games, it's going to sort itself out. It's going to balance itself out. So no one was in a panic, but we did see areas that we had to clean up, and we started to adjust with the players. And again, you can't fix it unless the players totally buy in. It's our job to identify the problem. It's our job to say, this is how we're going to fix it. Now it's your job, buy in. And we got that. So our players have been very good lately.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the goaltending, and Braden Holtby was awesome in that game. Jake Ottinger's been really nice too. And when you start sitting here and looking at this in Gumps every week we get on here, he's like, Rupper, what's wrong with Ben Bishop? Where's Ben Bishop? And he says it all the time. You don't have to give us an update on that. Where's Anton Hudobin? Like, what's going on here? Everybody's been saying there's so many goalies down there in Texas.
Is 4 too many?
It's 4.
Yeah. How many nets are you setting up down there, Bones? How many nets are at practice? God damn.
I'll tell you, Jeff Reese is our goalie coach. He's got arthritis in his shoulders from shooting so many pucks. You know
what? The funny thing though is like what I love about it, and maybe you can talk about Jake Ottinger, because I'm sitting here thinking I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of a young player, right? And it happened to me. I thought that I had a spot. And then in New Jersey, at the trade deadline, they traded for veteran guys for the playoff drive, and I was pushed out of the lineup. Okay, a little different here in this situation, but Jake Ottinger could be sitting here being like, all right, I like my spot here. I've paid some dues here. I think I have an opportunity on this roster, and all of a sudden the organization goes and signs Braden Holtby. And I think that there's two ways a player can react. He can trust the process with the team and have a belief and do the right things, which it seems like he's done. Or you can start kicking rocks and getting pissed off, right? Like you're moving me down the totem pole. He's been really nice for you too. How has he handled this whole thing?
As a pro, he's a great kid. You'd love to play with this guy. He's one of those goalies you love to play in front of. He works hard. So let's go back to the bubble 2 years ago. And that's when we lost Bish. So we're going into the bubble, and Jake is in the minors, and all of a sudden he's backing up. Adobe had a great run for us, and we got to the finals. But Jake then thought, he's going to be okay. And we go into the next year. We start the season last year in the 56-game schedule. Bish couldn't go. So Jake stayed with us all year. Had some ups and downs. Had some great games. Had some tough games. Those tough games make you better. You learn from those. And now you go into the summer, like you said, we signed Braden Holtby because we're still unsure of Bish. And I think Bish is going to come back in the next couple of weeks and go to the minors and play a little bit. That's up to him and his agent, Jimmy Neal, to still sort out. But I think that's coming in the next little while. Hopefully that's coming. And then we signed Braden, and Braden has a great start. Then he has some injuries that we've got to deal with. So Jake comes up. But he went to the farm team in Austin and worked very, very hard because he's a character kid. He's a true pro. And he comes to the rink every day with a smile on his face. He's a great teammate. And he's not the first guy on the ice working with Jeff, getting warmed up, getting ready for practice. He's one of those goalies that in the shooting drills, yourself, you're shooting 100 pucks halfway through the goalie starts. He just comes to let them go in. Jake tries to start every shot. Braden Holtby's been a great influence on Jake because of his work habits. But Jake's been a wonderful kid, and he's played sensational for us, and he's got a great career ahead of him. But you're right. He could have gone down and pouted and said, what are they doing to me? But we handled it right. We handled it. This is as honest as we can make it. You're the future of this franchise. Okay, we took a little turn here. Go down, play hard, and work your way back up. And that's exactly what he's done.
Yeah, Bones.
Now what do we got?
Yeah, Bones, you talked about the bubble. I mean, you guys go on that miraculous run to the cup. It was incredible to watch. Long season, everyone lays their bodies on the line. As a fan, it was kind of like the year after. You kind of knew it was going to be a tough year. How tough was that on the team, the grind, trying to get through last season the way it went?
Well, honestly, I don't think the bubble had a lot to do with it. I think it was more the circumstances of last year. So we go to training camp, and we started the season great, and all of a sudden we got hit by COVID. Now we got to shut down for a week. So now we come back for another mini training camp, and we get going again. Now we get hit with the winter freeze. Now we're shut down for 9 days again. So now we got to start all over again. And when we come back, the league, and we were the first team that was affected by this COVID, and we're shut down. So, and the league gives us a schedule that we're for 11 weeks, we're playing Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Like we had no 2-day break and we had no time to practice. And because of that, we all of a sudden we have more injuries. So these all sounds like excuses. They're not. It's the facts of what we had to deal with last year. So I really don't think that it was the bubble. I think it was the circumstances that we had to deal with last year. And it started when we got shut down with COVID. And then the big freeze, the winter storm, you all remember from last year. Yeah. We couldn't get to the rinks because they weren't allowed to turn the power on the rinks, turn the lights on. So, and then we come back and it's that condensed schedule. But when you're playing 11 straight weeks of Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and you have zero break, zero time for practice, now you're getting injuries. You can't straighten out the things. You can go to video all you want. You've got to get on the ice, right, Repper, and go through it, walk through these things and change the mentality. So, anyways, we hung right in there till the end of the season. That last week, we got knocked out of the playoffs. But I give our players full credit for buying in last year. They dug in and they battled their butts off all year. And we never had a game where we walked out of there and said, well, we didn't work very hard tonight. We walked out of there saying, you know what, we really look tired tonight. And when your team is rested and they're not working, and you as a coach, man, we look tired tonight. We're half a step behind. So I give our players full marks for the way they competed last year. But again, I think it had more to do with the circumstances than the run from the bubble.
Yeah, I know. I remember even in a normal situated 82 games season, a lot of times I remember coaches would say it'd be January and they would say before practice one day, hey guys, this is our third to last full team practice the rest of the year. I'm like, it's January. What are you talking about? But the way the schedule goes every other day, like you just can't simply have everybody together, right? So it makes it really tough. So you do it on a condensed season, like you don't have practice time, right? It's more like maintenance days where the player's just going to go out, do what they need to do to feel fresh. And you're saying to some guys, hey, stay off the ice. You played 25 last night. Take care of your body and all that stuff. So it's tough, man. I don't envy what you guys did go through in that situation. I will say Tom Holley is the PR guy for the Dallas Stars.
He's from Cleveland.
He's the I'm getting there.
Here we go.
He's the Nick over here. He's the best. He's the best in the business, and not because he's a Baker Mayfield fan or a Cleveland Browns fan. He's the best in the business, and he's told me. I remember player media tour a couple years ago, and we're going around, and Miro was there right away. It's before we kind of knew who Miro Heiskanen is, and Tom says to me, he goes, "Rupper, this kid's special, man. This kid's special." I'm like, yeah, no, I know. He goes, no, he's special. Wait till you see him play. And so over these last couple of years, I've been trying to pay extra close attention to him. And there's a lot of defensemen, deservingly so. Cale Makar's been fantastic. Adam Fox deserved that Norris Trophy. I would go pound for pound, dollar for dollar, Miro Heiskanen with any defenseman in the league. How good has this young kid been?
He's been exceptional. And from the first day of camp, when I first saw him, he came in as an 18-year-old. So the skills always jump out at you from any player, how good they can skate, how well they pass the puck, how well they shoot the puck, their hockey sense. And that all jumped out. But what really impressed me about Miro were two things. A, his poise with the puck as an 18-year-old. Never gets rattled with it, never threw it away, always looked to make plays, always skated with when he could. But the other thing is he's one of those elite players that when the game's on the line, he wants the ball. He wants to be on the ice. If we're protecting a 1-goal lead, he wants to be on the ice. And we need a goal, he wants the ball. He scored some huge goals in the bubble because we were down a goal and he would go end to end and make a great play. So elite athletes have that innate ability that then the game's on the line, I want to be part of it. I want to be on the ice. I don't want to go out for 20 seconds and get off as quick as I can so I don't hurt the team. He wants the ball. And that's what I love about the poise and that innate ability he has. It, man, he wants the game. He wants to put the team on his back. There are a few guys like that, but I love that about the kid.
Oh, I love that. I love it. It gives me goosebumps. Last night's game, you said it wasn't your best game. It's one of probably your worst games lately. That was a big win. That was a big win. I mean, we're sitting here and we're looking at the games for the night. And obviously we had circled is Florida and Washington. That one was a great one also. But this was one for me where you've got the team that everybody's been talking about all year in Carolina. And then you got this other team that's on their way. They're coming. And I thought this was a really, I hate the word and I hate the phrase measuring stick, because I think that insinuates you don't know who you are. But I thought it was a way to kind of flex your muscles. And although the game didn't go your way, or it did go your way, not to maybe a coach's likings, you got a big win. I mean, did that win feel different in that room? Because that's a big time win against a really good team.
They're a great hockey club. Rod's done a wonderful job. They are so hard to play against. You talk about a team heavy on the forecheck, they're coming, and their D are coming down the walls, and they force you to play on the walls a lot because there's so much pressure. You don't have time to go D to D, find your low center. You don't have time. They're right on you. So they put the puck in the right spot, and they're all this predictable hockey man. They know where they're going, and they're coming. So we had a tough time with that last night. But you like I told the team after, as you know, every game's not a Picasso. It's not, right? So with the schedule, sometimes you're playing a team that's playing great but having a tough time scoring. That would apply to Carolina last night. They've last couple games, I know they've lost, but they're playing a lot better than that. They're just having a tough time putting the puck in the net like we went through early in the year, and Braden again was outstanding. But it's a measuring stick in terms of saying, okay, we beat them, but we can play better. Right, they outplayed us in our rink, and not the whole game, probably maybe 25% of it, but enough to dominate at certain times of the game. So it's a measuring stick in that, okay, we just beat, but winning percentage is the number one team in the league, and we beat them. So, and we know we can play better. So that's kind of the message. And again, every game, every shift, every period, it's not going to go your way. There's two teams out there trying to win, and you're not going to control the tempo of the game for 60 minutes, and especially against a team like Carolina. So we bent, we didn't break, and we found a way to win. And that's what good teams do. When you're on a roll, you find a way to win. But you also know when you're winning, sometimes little bad habits start to creep in because you just think, okay, we're going to win here. And all of a sudden, little things start to creep in that we've got to fix right away. Or all of a sudden, you go on a losing streak in a hurry because you let these little things magnify and get a little bit bigger. So our guys were good. We had a good meeting today, good practice. And you get ready for tomorrow. We've got Columbus coming in. They lost 6-0. They're going to come in hot, really hot. So we just got to get ready for tomorrow. Learn from last night, make some adjustments, and you move on.
Gumps, you got any PP suggestions or anything any starting goaltenders next game? What are you thinking?
Pick one of four.
Pick one of four.
Just keep it going, man. It's awesome to see the team buzzing again and playing like this because it's just like I said, the bubble run was so unexpected as a fan to get to the cup that it was incredible, and to see most of this team stick together and the way you've been coaching. I mean, let's go to another cup this year, Bones.
There we
That's
go.
The plans, man. That's the plans. That's what we're all here for.
Well, hey, the one thing I want to say to you, maybe you can let me in on it too. Let me know, because I haven't talked to you about this over the years when we've crossed paths. I was just telling these guys before he came on, I'm like, you know what? Come to think of it, Bones and I almost crossed paths again. And I, hindsight being 2020, I would have loved to have had that opportunity. But I was told, so I finished year, that would have been 2010-11 season. I was in Pittsburgh. And so I was a pending UFA, and I was talking with Pittsburgh about signing an extension. And my agent comes to me and he goes, hey, just so you know, I heard that there's a deal on the table for you to go to Vancouver at the deadline. So I don't know what happened. I haven't gotten clarity on that. So it all started throwing a wrench in it for me, because I was like, do I want to sign in Pittsburgh for, I'm going to take a hometown discount and potentially get traded at, those things that go through players' minds. And I was like, I could have played for Bones again. I could have been out there in Vancouver, and you guys had that Stanley Cup run. Did you have anything to do with that? Because that would have been awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I do remember that, because we knew we needed to get a little more size. We needed to get a little more grit. And you fit the bill perfectly. And again, your work habits and your teammates are second to none. So you would have been a great fit for us. You might have helped us push us to get that second game.
I could have played another Stanley Cup final, man. If we go back in time, Bones, I would have pushed for that trade 100%. So no, it was an honor playing for you. It's great watching you. You know what, boys? You got your drinks. You're going to hold them up here. We got Bones to 1,500 more. Wow. We appreciate you, man.
All right, thanks. That was a pleasure. Good talking to you guys.
Yeah, it's good talking to you. Thanks so
much. Enjoy your night.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Legend.
Bones.
Legend.
Yes.
Legend.
How can you not enjoy playing for a guy like that?
No,
You
man.
talked about it, Rupper. You played for Torts. You played for you played for Disco, right? A couple quote unquote Disco, not as hard as Torts, but they weren't quite the most friendly player coaches. I mean, Rick seems like that would be like a dream as a player, showing up to the rink every day with Rick.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that's the thing too. It's like it's like, I don't want to say, I feel like when you say someone's old school, it's almost like a negative,
Some
connotation.
people,
to
it's
it.
the same as players coach you were talking about, Rubber.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
exact
Like I
same
don't.
thing.
So
People
but
can take anything and spin it the wrong way,
But listen, man, like whether it's your pops growing up, whether it's your grandparents, your grandpa, at some point in your childhood as a young man, you get looked eye to eye from pops or grandpa, and you have that moment where it's man to man, like, you got to do this. You got a responsibility here. And that old school connection that he makes with players, and some of these guys do, Torts does as well. And it looks different. It feels different, but that connection's made. And when you have that connection, you don't want to let that guy down, man. You want to run through a fucking wall for that guy. And that's what Rick Bowness brings, man. And you watch, even the way that you saw there, you sent me that, Nick, you sent me the clip of Jamie Benn after the game, giving the puck to Holtz and giving the puck to Bones. Like, you could tell sincerity in the locker room speech post game, that like he's one of the boys. Like, they're playing for him. You know what I mean? That's something special, man. Not every coach can do that. And not every player's coach survives. A lot of players' coaches get eaten up in pro sports. So Bones, man, 2,500 games. That's something. That's something for sure.
I mean, I said it a million times. That cup run was that was out of nowhere, man. Awesome. Like, that team had no business getting there. And how much do you think a guy like Ryan Suter is helping in that locker room?
You know what? Suits makes that blue line really unique now, because you've got Miro, who is again an absolute stud. You've got John Klingberg, who I think is the best offensive walker of the blue line in the NHL, getting shots through, generating offense, making something out of nothing as far as just getting shots through. Esa Lindell, shutdown guy. You've got Ryan Suter. At this point in his career, where's he at minutes-wise? Is he willing to take less minutes to provide a different role than he's provided? Their back end is nice. Their back end is really, really nice. And that's what this team has to be. They got to defend. And they could put one of their 12 goalies in net, and they just got a good D-core team defense, and let's fucking go. And that's what they look like right now, Gumps. You said it before. They look different over these last 7. I think the last 8 games. Last 8 games, they're 7-1. So, man, look out.
It's more offense. But what Bones was saying there, Bishop's getting moved, right?
I don't know. Dude.
When he said we got to talk to his agent, it sounded like that's what it sounded. Hey, hey, we know where he's going. He's going to Pittsburgh. It's a perfect fit.
Oh, boys, I don't know.
We've been saying it all off. Hey,
Tristan Jarry. I don't know what's going on.
Tristan Jarry.
Until you get to the playoffs and he fucking wets the bed again.
Hold on a second. Tristan Jarry right now. Let's transition this. Tristan Jarry, I'm going to give Jacob Markstrom's the early leader for the Vezina, but after Markstrom, Tristan Jarry, Jack Campbell, Sergei Bobrovsky, I'm missing someone. There's someone else in that mix there. Shesterkin for the Rangers. Those 4 guys are the guys. I think Markstrom is exceptionally a step above. Okay. Tristan Jarry's been unbelievable. If it wasn't for Jarry, I don't know where this Pens team would be. They might be too deep right now to come back. But, like, he's been unbelievable. Hold on a second. Team Canada. We've talked about that before.
I told you, Gump. Rubber, I'm so happy
there's a man who's on skates. You know who's in between the pipes.
If he's on skates, he'll be playing. But we don't know that right now.
We don't know.
I think it changes week to week.
1,000-unit bet. Carey Price straps him on Canada.
If Carey Price is back, and we hope he is, man. We hope health-wise, mental health-wise, all that stuff. I hope to see Carey Price rocking the Team Canada jersey. If Carey Price is able to play, it's Carey Price. Marc-Andre Fleury. You got to take a third guy, and usually that third guy is there to absorb. Maybe he'll play, probably not, but absorb because it's the future. we thought that was going to be Carter Hart. Things are fucking flailing in Philadelphia. They're down 2-0 in the first here tonight against the Rangers. Carter Hart hasn't been the problem, but he's kind of trailed off a little bit. Tristan Jarry's just going like this. Is Jarry the number 3 guy for Team Canada? What do you think?
I need to see a playoff run. I mean, you have
can't.
to.
The Olympics are before the playoffs.
Exactly.
As long as if he's 3, it's fine. If he's 3, it's fine. But I don't.
Okay. You don't want him. You don't want him starting.
0 chance. No.
Okay.
Rupert,
the guy
nothing gets you geared up for a playoff run like going to China and playing in the Olympics. Give him the reins and let him run. Tristan Jarry should be the number 1 starter for Team Canada. If you look right now, he is playing as the best Canadian goaltender in the NHL as of today, right now.
And it's not really close. It's not really close.
Not even close.
And so here's the thing.
That is gross.
Let's just paint this picture. You already had the crystal ball out earlier with the Diagonal Penguins jerseys coming back, Nick. Yep. So I don't want to step on your toes here. But let's just envision this for a moment. All right, it's coming to me right now. You're going to have Tristan Jarry lights out all season. He's going to go there. Maybe he's the 3rd string. Maybe he's the 2nd string, okay? But he gets in the Olympics. That team's so loaded, so stacked in front of him. He doesn't have to be great. They're going to score goals for him. They win a gold medal. Tristan Jarry comes back to Pittsburgh. Bang, Superman on his chest, takes this team to the promised land because he got that confidence from the playoffs. Gumps, I don't know, man. It could happen. It could happen.
It's fine. It could. It very well could. But I've seen him in the playoffs in high pressure situations. I cannot get that vision out of my head. I've watched everything last year. Like there was just some I mean, Fleury makes those mistakes too. You know what I mean? Like
true.
Carey Price has just been so good for so long.
What year was it though? When Canada was transitioning, was it 2010 when they were kind of transitioning away from Marty Brodeur because he was kind of towards the end of his career, and I think it was him, Luongo, and Luongo came in.
That got a little spicy, if you remember.
Yeah, because Luongo wasn't sharp initially
either. Spicy.
Yeah, because Flower was the 3rd string, and that's the formula we're talking about. 2010. How old's Flower now? Flowers
35, 36, 37, somewhere around there.
So say he's 35. So you're talking 2010. That's 11 years ago. So yeah, you know, you're talking about a player that's 24. He's young. He was brought there to be the future guy, right? And to be that guy in the future. And that's how they roll. All these countries do it. Team USA is going to do it. They're going to have Connor Hellebuck's going to be there. They're going to have John Gibson. And they're gonna have to decide: is it gonna be Spencer Knight? Is it gonna be I'm going blank here? One of these young guys who could be the
Campbell.
Guys. Yeah, no, that's true. It could be Campbell.
The way he's playing right now, dude, it's crazy. And we're talking about Brodeur and we're talking about Luongo now, and I'll kind of transition it to another bit of a Canadian subject here. The Montreal Canadiens over the weekend, all kinds of news coming out. Scott Mellenby, the assistant GM, steps down. Mark Bergevin is let go by Jeff Molson, the owner.
How?
The GM is let go 1 year after being in the Stanley Cup final. The Canadiens are essentially cleaning house in their front office. Now, Luongo's name has popped up as a potential GM. Marty Brodeur's name has popped up as a potential GM candidate, although I believe he said, hey, I'm cool here in New Jersey. I'm going to stick it out here. And another name, Rupper, that is mighty interesting to hear. Patrick Waugh's name has been floated around as a potential replacement and new GM of the Montreal Canadiens. You're around this stuff. You talk to Weeksy. Weeksy's dialed into all this stuff as a former goalie himself and potential GM himself. Are you hearing anything on your end about who could take that job? Because your buddy Jeff Gorton, former GM for the Rangers. He did such a great job there with their rebuild. He used to work for the Bruins as well. He was brought in to be vice president there. And I think a lot of people are thinking the thought is that they might flip the kind of GM president role where Gorton might be the personnel guy, and they might just bring in a GM to be kind of a CEO type, like a face of the franchise situation, and not necessarily have to be the most diligent scouter or talent evaluator.
Yeah, no. Jeff Gorton, first of all, is the perfect guy for the job.
He's great.
What he has learned, the one thing with Gortz, one of his biggest attributes is patience. He's got patience. Does Montreal have patience? Do their fans have patience? I'm not sure about that. They usually don't. But if they do in this situation, he's the right man for the job. Okay. But then they still need to find a GM. And listen, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get some backlash over this, but it blows my mind that a prerequisite to be a GM for the Montreal Canadiens is to be bilingual. That is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard of in my life. You want the best guy for the job, do you not? You want the best guy for the job. You're going to sit here and tell me with all these great GMs out there available, or maybe, you know what, this is the Montreal Canadiens job. Maybe there's a GM that's currently with a team right now that they could potentially get at some point. You're going to limit that because he doesn't speak French? Like, get out of here. Like, dude, come on. Like, you know what I mean? You're talking about one of the greatest organizations in the greatest organization in hockey history. And you're going to limit the GM search to if he can speak French. It blows my mind.
That's Montreal, baby. That's Montreal. You ever been to Montreal and been around Montreal? That is Montreal.
You know what I mean? Though, so like in this situation, the only thing
I don't. My thing is, Rupper, you were in the Stanley Cup last year, and you shouldn't have fucking been there.
No,
not even close. Not even close. And now, because this is the same thing we talk about with the Canucks. Everyone's mad that the Canucks stink. The Canucks overachieved in the bubble. Yeah. This is what the Canucks are.
Yeah.
But not to mention you lose Carey Price.
You lose your heart and soul. That's all you had.
And you lose Shea Weber. Captain,
that's your whole team.
An all-around leader.
I don't think this. I don't know, because I kind of teeter on this. This wasn't Mark Bergevin's mess. No, I don't think so. I think he's made moves to try to make this team better. I guess the one thing I will complain about, though, they haven't had a centerman, a number one line center for 20 years.
Not for lack of effort, though. They've tried. They tried.
No, they've tried, but they haven't gotten it. So I guess that's one thing you can put against any GM that's been there over that tenure. But he's made attempts. I think this is something. It's something inside the. I don't want to say inside the room. I'm not blaming this on Dominic Ducharme, but the players aren't playing, man. Like what they did last year to go to the finals, they were smothering. They were outworking teams. None of that's happening now.
They're dead. They're dead. They're completely dead. And it's like
terrible.
Nobody in sports, it just feels like nowadays nobody's realistic.
Yeah.
Like be realistic. Like look at the team you have and how you got to the Stanley Cup. Like as a fan, I knew the Stars weren't supposed to get to where they got to. Yeah. I had a very good feeling that last year was going to be a write-off after that run, even if that COVID shit didn't happen.
To that, it was like when the Penguins did the back-to-back thing, that when they were going through the second run, and then all of a sudden they lose Letang, and we're trying to replace Chris Letang with Mark Streit and Ron Hainsey, and somehow, some way that team battled and made it work. I didn't think that was going to happen. And then when they did the back-to-back, I was like, okay, like from here on out, we're playing with house money. Anything that happens for the next couple of years is good, because it's just unrealistic to expect dominance year after year in the hockey world. And like you said, them going on that run was maybe the worst thing that happened to them, because it accelerated everyone's timeline and expectations. And then when you come back with no Carey Price, no Shea Weber, what's Bergevin supposed to do? His hands are tied at that point.
Yeah. No, it's true.
That's all sports, Rupper. I mean, I'm a Red Sox fan, and to this day, I said if we get one World Series in my lifetime, I will be happy. Now they got 2004, 2007, 2013, 2018, and people are complaining every day. It's like, do you not know that this team didn't win a championship for 86 fucking years?
Yeah.
Like teams don't win championships. Like that's not a regular thing.
Yeah, they're Boston, Massachusetts, New England fans, basically the worst people out there, though.
That's
like
fine.
we know this.
But you know what? You know that as a Browns fan, though. Like, be realistic.
If you gave me one Browns, I don't even want to say Super Bowl. Give me an AFC championship game. I will die tomorrow happy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I'm a
You're gonna live
Dolphins
a
fan.
long,
I'm a,
happy
Dol-
life.
I'm
Don't
a
worry about
Dolphins fan, Rupper. I feel you.
Yeah.
I'm in the exact same boat. Give me something.
No,
But
it's
I'm
true,
also
dude.
realistic. I
No,
know it's
you got
okay.
it. Yes. It doesn't see, that's the thing is it doesn't happen overnight. And if your team goes on a run overnight, enjoy it. It's special. But doesn't mean it's gonna fucking happen again. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But
Well, that's like Chuck Pagano came on Pat's show today. He said any coach needs 2 years to build his team because you have 2 draft classes and time. To expect a coach to come in and not even have one draft class and turn it's so unrealistic, and it shouldn't surprise us at this point, but like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I know. Brendan Lemieux, 5 games, biting. What are you guys thinking? Enough? Not too much?
So
Not enough, I should say.
I think it's enough. I think it's a
way
fair
too
punishment.
much.
The way Brady reacted was awesome to me. Like the quotes he gave to the media were absolutely electric. Calling Lemieux a brickhead and just calling him a child, and like, who does that? But I've also seen some things like Jonathan Quick, Brendan Lemieux's teammate, stuck up for Brendan. I don't know if you saw this, Rupper, but he said like, hey, like, I was out there too. I saw some things from a little bit of a different angle. And I don't know if it necessarily happened the way Brady described it, which was interesting to me because there's a fine line between sticking up for your teammate and also saying like, hey, that guy's fucking lying, because we saw the blood on Brady. We saw his hands near Brendan's mouth, and there's 2 schools of thought, I guess. Like, hey, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. If you stick your hands near somebody's mouth, something bad's probably going to happen. And also, Brendan's a scumbag. He bit Brady Tkachuk. So I was kind of torn on that whole side of it. I was 100% like, yeah, fuck him, he bit somebody. But then I hear the Jonathan Quick thing, and I'm like, Jonathan Quick seems like a good guy. He doesn't seem like he just makes some bullshit up. So I'm like, it just seems like, okay, they suspended him. Lemieux's kind of known to have a little bit of a reputation as a guy who flirts with the line. I'm not going to call him a dirty player because I don't know that much about him, but I've seen some things and heard some things, and it seemed like it got blown up because you just don't see it all that often. But it seems like it's one of those Marchand things, kind of almost, with him licking the guy. Like, it's something that happened. We'll laugh about it a little bit later, and we're moving on, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it still pisses me off. We didn't ask Ryan Callahan about being licked by Brad Marchand. That was the biggest turnover by.
I didn't realize it was him that got licked.
Yeah. So, here's the thing, and I'll say this, and I'm not going to insinuate that Brady Tkachuk did those things. It's interesting to hear what Jonathan Quick has to say there. I'll say this about it. First of all, before we really get into it, did you guys see that person that paid Gilbert Gottfried to read Brady Tkachuk's statements? That was the best.
I haven't seen Gilbert Gottfried in 20 damn years, bro.
It was the best thing I've ever seen. He was saying Tkachuk, he's like, Tatuk. Oh, you guys got to watch it. Someone paid on Cameo Gilbert Gottfried to read Brady Tkachuk's statements post game. Incredible, worth your watch. But Brady Tkachuk, I understand that he, after the game, you're pissed. I don't love everything he said. Like, there's
too much for you.
There's certain things. I don't know. I don't love what Brendan Lemieux did. I think it's gutless. I don't think there's any place for hockey, for it in hockey. But I will say this: hockey fights or scrums is a controlled environment. It may not look like that. It may look barbaric, but there's still rules that are kind of followed. But when you cross those lines and the rules of engagement are out the window. So all I'm saying, I'm not saying in this situation in particular, if I've never bit anybody, nobody's ever bitten me. I do have a good biting story I'll tell you after this, though, from a teammate. But if someone ever stuck their finger, I had in the OHL playing in Erie, playing against the Ottawa 67s, a guy fish hooked me. Dude, the guy ripped my mouth for 10 stitches. My mouth was like extended. Like it opened up over here. I'm like, you know what I mean? So from then on,
I got these scars.
Yeah. So my point is, if you put your fingers in my mouth and try to do something over the line, I'm gonna fucking bite you. You deserve it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not saying Brady did that. If Brady did not do that, or you just face wash and whatever, and you go out of your way to bite a guy, that's ridiculous. That should never be in the league. But like, we've also seen guys, I've heard of guys back in the day getting their eyes gouged down to the first knuckle. Like, what are we doing? When you cross that line, like, this is not a street fight. It's organized fighting in the NHL. So I don't know exactly what happened there. It's just hard for me to believe that a player would bite another player without being provoked in some way, shape, or form, you know?
Yeah. Out of nowhere.
Yeah. I don't know. But here's my bite story.
Oh, here we go.
You might not love this one, Nick.
What does that mean?
I'm playing in Pittsburgh. Matt Cook's on the team.
Yeah, Cookie, yeah.
You can see where this is going. So Matt Cook's on the team. We're playing against the Philadelphia Flyers. Aaron Asham. Why aren't we all biting? And that's what I want to know. But we're playing against the Flyers. And Ash, I played with Ash already in New Jersey, so I knew him.
Badass.
We're playing against the Flyers, and there was, I don't remember the details. I wonder if it might even be on YouTube or something. But what ended up happening is there's a scrum, something was going on. Aaron Asham said that Matt Cook bit him. He was freaking out in the game, losing his mind. Post game comments: Matt Cook bit me. Matt Cook bit me. Matt Cook bit me. And Cookie was like, I didn't bite him. I didn't bite him. So you fast forward a year. Not even a year, probably half a year. Aaron Asham signs in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
So Ash is coming, comes to the team. Now he's teammates with Cookie. And one of our first road trips, Ash is like kind of sitting there. I think there's probably an elephant in the room to some degree for him, not necessarily for us. We probably forgot about it. And he says to Cookie, he's like, hey, just admit you bit me. Like, you bit me. And Cook's like, I didn't bite you. He goes, no. Like, it's over. It was like last year. Like, I had your teeth marks on my hand or my finger, whatever it was. I had your teeth marks on me. Just tell me you bit me and it's done. Like, we're teammates now, whatever. I didn't fucking bite you. I'm not apologizing for shit. No, he's like, no. And dude, from then on, it was like, I actually would love to see, maybe we get Aaron Asham on here to tell this story.
Yes, please.
Because I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. I don't think he loved them after that point. I think it was like, here's the olive branch. Let's try to put this behind us. And it wasn't being admitted to. And he's like, I know you fucking bit me because I had teeth marks and stitches on my finger. So who else bit me then? Did the ref bite me in the scrum? And I think that was thinking it. But like, dude, it's a nasty, like, that in the hockey locker rooms is like, that's not a good look. So,
well, that's like, unless you get visual, clear-cut evidence of a chomp happening, it's so hard to prove, even with teeth marks, because you could say, "Oh, I got bumped into my teeth."
I went to punch him and got it. Like, okay, whatever.
Exactly. So there's so many ways you could spin that. So, and I believe 100% what you're saying. That Cookie was like,
You're like,
was he the most hated player you've seen in your playing days, Rupper? Was somebody else like
Cookie
around the league the most hated player?
Oh, he was the most hated.
Yeah,
he was him. Rafi Torres was probably number 2. Mm-hmm. Alex Burrows was probably number 3. I mean, Cookie was like, I told you guys that story when we talked about the Zdeno Chara fight. Is like when we went to Boston, like, they're on the front page of the Boston Herald, not the sports page, the front page, wanted dead or alive, with Matt Cook's face with no teeth in the front. Like, just looked like he just had that face that you wanted to get. This guy, everywhere you went, everybody hated him. They wanted to kill him. I played with him in junior hockey. Everybody wanted to kill him there. Like, he just had that, and he was a good player. Like, what
is it about those guys? Because there's some guys in, like, I was Penguins fan for years. I saw Cook. I saw him do some dirty things, and I saw him do some things that I don't think he meant to do. The Erik Karlsson thing comes to mind, like him allegedly stomping on his
That
tendon.
he didn't stomp on his tendon. Like,
yeah,
that's
exactly. I thought that was a freak accident. 100%. The owner in Ottawa blew that up. But like, there's guys just for whatever reason, like Tom Wilson's of the world, who is by all accounts a great teammate, phenomenal player on the ice. You just mentioned a couple like Rafi Torres, like guys who just repeatedly, it just doesn't seem to click. What is it? Like, what is maybe you can't describe it. I'm just wondering if you could shed a little light maybe on what the mindset is behind that, or how that works as a guy. Who's the other? Steve Downey was another one.
No, Steve Downey was a good one. You know what the problem is? I played with a few of these guys, and I don't think a lot of these guys make it without having that mindset.
Yeah.
But like, they're never fucking wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like you'll like, there was a time. Listen, I'm not sitting here trying to bury Matt Cook. Matt Cook's I like playing with Matt Cook, but like, there was a time and this was part of that time where he came out and he's like, I got to make changes. He did make changes. The later parts of his career, he was always a good player. He was a good player, and he cleaned it up. He went through stuff. I mean, basically what I heard, Mario came down and said, hey, you're going to be out of, like, we're not dealing with this. We're not going to go to the league and talk about these types of things and concussions and this with Sid and all that stuff if you're going to be going around being a headhunter. So they kind of came down on him, and he cleaned it up. He did. He put work in. He watched videos. He did those things. But this is before that. I remember a distinct time we're in the locker room, and Dan Bylsma, I remember Matt Cook got a penalty for high sticking for a slash. That's what it was. For a slash. We're in the video room. We're all sitting back in our seats and we're watching the video. And we had a shitty game. Dan's pissed. And he's showing this clip, and it was just a dumb penalty. The puck came up. I remember, I actually think it was against the Islanders. The puck came up in the neutral zone right in front of the defenseman's in front of his face. And the defenseman went to swat it with his hand. And Cookie takes his stick. He picks his stick up and he goes to whack the puck. Well, he misses the puck, hits the guy, like literally bitch slaps him in the face with his stick.
Yeah.
And they give him a slash. And so Dan's showing this video because we all get caught in that moment. Your reaction is just to get the puck. You don't realize, you're not thinking like, oh, I might get a high sticking penalty here. So Dan plays it, rewinds it, plays it, rewinds it. No one's saying anything. Plays it, rewinds it, plays it, rewinds it. And he just turns around and he goes to Cookie. He goes, I mean, what are we doing? and Cookie goes, that's not a penalty. He goes, what do you mean that's not a penalty? How is that not a penalty? Like, he's like, he's basically like, that's not a penalty. You hit the guy. And so then it became like the meaning was secondary. What do you mean that it wasn't a penalty? And he goes, I was trying to, he said something like, I don't remember the terminology, but he basically used terminology of a penalty. Like, it was like, he didn't say slash the puck. He said something on like, basically I was trying to whack the puck and I hit him in the face. Like, dude, you use like literally the term of a penalty as your explanation of what it is. That's a fucking penalty. And I was sitting there in the room and I'm like, dude, just say like I fucked up. Like just say it. It's over with. Like, there's nothing else he could say. But like, that's the thing with some of these guys, and it's tough because it was like that with me too. You get praised for these things to some degree, and you have to do them to get the attention to be in the league. If Matt Cook, if Rafi Torres, if Alex Burrows, if Brad Marchand is not hated all the time when they first break in the league, that's attention. If they don't have that, who knows what they'll be? Who knows if they'll give it a second chance? They kind of stirred things up. But the problem that I've always learned with these guys is they're never wrong.
That's a great point because, I played a lot of ball hockey, deck hockey, street hockey, depending on where you're from. It depends on what you call it. But a lot of scumbags in that sport, in that arena, in that area. And they abide by the same mindset where they can do no wrong when it's clear that they've done wrong, and they can't ever accept the fault or the blame in that situation. It's like, dude, why would you even Like we're just it's recreational. Like what do you?
That's the thing.
What's the point of that?
Especially when you're on a team, like you can do whatever and try and get away with whatever happens in between those lines. But when you get into the change room, you fucking tell everybody, oh, I know I'm a fucking idiot.
Like,
you know
that's
what I mean?
where
You can't be honest with your teammates, then that everyone knows that's a fucking idiot.
And all it takes is a hey boys, that's on me. You know,
that's it. Even if it's not, even if you just want it to end and it's not, you don't even feel that fucking way. Just go in the room and be like, my bad, boys. My bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Because the stick thing specifically, like I've been there too playing where like I had pretty good hand-eye when it came to like a ball or a puck being in the air. Like if I'm going to whack it out of the air, like I'm 100% confident I'm getting it. And if I missed, so be it. I would have in that situation. I would just hey, look, I was going for it, and I thought I was getting it 100 times out of 100, but I missed. It sounds like he just couldn't do that.
Are there any scraps in ball hockey? Do you guys?
Oh yeah, all the time, dude.
Really?
Fucking Mark Madden.
Did Mads send you out to stir shit up?
Sending out fucking
I was not the guy. Yeah,
no, not you, like players. Would Mads be like the guy that's like get out there and send a message? Would he do that?
We had a kid who was very, very, very good one time, and he was getting hacked and whacked all game long by some kid on this Boston team. Like we're talking carved up, like total stick work. And I'll never forget. Mark looked down the bench. And he looked at our guy, Joe. We had a guy. We're still buddies with him. We call him Haddlebags. Big motherfucker for his age. At the time, he was probably like 15, 16. And he looked at him and he said, Joe. And he pointed out there and he pointed at the kid on the other team. And he was number 10. He said, Joe, number 10. And he went like this. And
Flash.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
he's in fucking WWE again.
The next shift, Joe went right over the boards,
Mads even
sprinted for this kid, and fucking just absolutely decimated. He ran through him, and Joe was like, Joe's our high school's all-time leading sack leader, like stud football player. So this is a big dude. He absolutely ran through this kid. I'm talking. The kid was ragdolled, Rupp. He was rolling around on the ground afterwards.
We're gonna have Mads on at some point, and I'm gonna bring that story up.
Yeah,
dude, I want to hear it. I love it. Hey, so we're looking at some of the other things here. Nathan McKinnon back tonight. What do we got here? We've got 2-0
down
leads.
4-2 right now.
Oh, is it 4-2? My app hasn't updated. 4-2. Where are we at as far as it's still second or is the end of the second?
Yeah, there's about 4 minutes left in the second. Toronto's up 4-2.
What's the
he's got a point. He's got an assist.
Oh, he does. Okay.
20 shots to 19 for the Maple Buds.
I give a lot of credit to this Avs team, man. They've been holding fort. Naz Kadri's been lights out. He's been unbelievable. Darcy Kemper's games picked up, but they've held fort for Nathan McKinnon to get back. It might take him a little bit of time here, but man, they ran into a buzzsaw here in this game. I don't know. We'll see how this one. I don't want to touch that game because I think the Leafs are different right now.
I took a chance on the Avs earlier on Hammer Down saying they get McKinnon back. They get his butt right before the game. I don't know if you saw this. Kemper was expected to start literally right before the game. They pulled him out. Jonas Johansson gets a start, and they had to call in the emergency goaltender. It could have been a David Ayers situation potentially.
Yeah, no, that'd be sick actually. But but you mentioned sometimes when players come back like of high caliber like that, the team doesn't always. I don't know. It just
I've seen it happen with the Penguins a lot.
Doesn't
when,
work.
Sid or Gino comes back into the lineup, and it just
that doesn't mean that player's bad. It's just like everybody's slotted differently. You got to feel the game out. So.
We saw it with Jack Hughes last night. So Jack Hughes comes back off the shoulder injury, signs that ticket 8x8. We'll talk about that. The team completely shits the bed against San Jose. And by the way, Nick, I got you a jersey. I got both of you a jersey. You're gonna rock it. You're gonna wear it. I got it. No,
both of you.
I talked to
the dev said
you get the hat too.
The dev said they're gonna. The dev said I reached out to him. I go, hey, we got to bring some boys over to the dark side. And they said, what do you need?
Devil.
They said, what do you need? I said, we need some jerseys, and they're like, done. Let's do it. So you guys are gonna be getting these jerseys. Just show them some love. Just show them some love. for a moment.
I'll
Listen,
hang it
you
up.
send me a
I'll
jersey,
hang it
I'll
up.
show you
I'll
some
hang it
love,
up
yeah.
behind me during the
All right,
show.
there
I'll
we
put
go.
it up
So
behind
the
me.
jerseys are on their way. and
I ain't
we'll have to
fucking
show
putting it
those.
on, but I'll show respect.
So Jack Hughes, 8 times 8. What do you guys think about that? Too much? Too soon? Good price? Good projection? Where are we at?
Listen, just being objective, it's 100% too much too soon, but you don't have much of a choice. You're a team that has had issues with getting fans in the building, whether it be from COVID or whether it just be the recent downtrodden years that they've had. Like, he's a good young player. He's going to be good. He's going to get better. He's a little bit undersized. And I heard Bouchagras saying this where, like, he may not be that over a point a game player for another couple years because of his size, and he's got to grow into the league and everything. And it makes sense. Look, he's got, I'm looking at it right now. The first year in, he played 61 games. He only had 21 points.
Yeah.
Then last year, 56 games, 31 points. And this year, I mean, only 3 games, but he had 3 points. So, like, already the pace is getting better. He's improving every year. I like him as a player, and I think he's going to be good. It's definitely too much too soon, but I don't hate it, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Like, I think he's overpaid, but like, hey, if they're going to offer you that, yeah, by all means, you go get it. The market says what you're worth.
What'd the Blackhawks give Seth Jones?
A lot. 9.5 per, I think.
Yeah, 9.5, I think. So, yeah.
I mean, I'm not putting him on Seth Jones level, but if you're the Devils, are you going to get to a point where you're going to lose him?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta. They don't really have a choice but to secure this guy long term.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to. It's his first overall pick. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna try to bridge them, and these players remember that shit. You're gonna stick to them now. 5 years down the road, 4 years, 3 years on a bridge. They're gonna remember that, and they're gonna be like, all right, remember how you dicked me back there? Well, you're gonna pay for it now. And so I think this team was like, hey, Jack, listen. We're happy with what you are, what you can be. Let's just get this done 8 times 8. And what I like about this is Jack Hughes. Yes, I agree with you, Nick. Like his track record, that's the wrong way to put it. What he's done up to this point, it doesn't really warrant that. But I also, from the naked eyes view, the numbers haven't come yet, but I've seen really good progression from year 1 to year 2 to year 3. I mean, he played 4 periods before he got hurt. He had 3 points. He has this swagger when he has the puck, and you can see it's coming. It might take a little bit of time. Let's not forget, this guy didn't play junior hockey. This guy didn't play college hockey where he's playing against 22-year-olds. Like, this guy played against his peers, and then he got thrown into the NHL. It's going to take a little bit, man. Like Austin Matthews went over, if you remember, overseas to play against men. That was great for him. Some guys can do it. Some guys can't. It's taking him a little bit of time. But with that being said, the going rate for a close to a point a game guy in this league is $8 million, $8.5 million. So Jack Hughes, let's just say if he's a 70-point guy over 82 games, that's worth fucking $8
absolutely.
million.
That's what
a
I
year
like.
from now, this could be a very good deal.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
that number, $8 million, isn't
what happens?
A bank breaker like it used to be.
Exactly. Like, what happens if he gets to be a 95-point guy? He's over a point a game. You got him for 8. If you're talking 95 points, if you're talking 100 points, that's $10-11 million. You know what I mean? I don't know if he'll get there, but I think a point a game is something very realistic for Jack Hughes.
I think so too, absolutely. And as that team gets a little bit better around him too, the talent will help out. Like, it's not just him, Nico Hischier is another guy in a similar situation where he was number 1 overall pick, and it's like he hasn't quite. I don't want to say he hasn't quite lived up billing, but like you expect things when you're taking first overall, and they haven't been the dynamic point getters like the Oilers have with McDavid and Draisaitl and those guys. And not many people can be or should be. Like, those are generational talents. So there's nothing wrong with what the Devils are doing or the way they're doing it. It's just they're probably going to need a little more support from the guys around them on that team than you would see in like an Edmonton.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean,
and once they get that, they'll start to blossom even more.
The really interesting thing that I think about the Devs too, it's like, so Jack has been out. Dawson Mercer the young talent. He's been moved to center. Okay. He's done really well. I mean, outside of Mo Sider and Lucas Raymond in Detroit, the next guy in line for the Calder is probably Dawson Mercer in New Jersey. And so my point is here, like when you slot this Devils team appropriately, if you can have they've learned that he can play center now. So Jack comes back. Jack actually last night played right wing. He played last night. I think they're trying to ease him back in. That's why he's playing the wing, less responsibility. But when you talk about this team moving forward, if they can get Jack Hughes 1C, Dawson Mercer 2C, and now you've got Nico Hischier 3C, you're cooking with gas with that. You know what I mean? Like that's what's great with Edmonton. If Edmonton's gotten to a point where they can almost be like, we can go 3C with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Like that's a pretty good fucking advantage. Yeah. And everybody knows like third lines are the sleeper to win a Stanley Cup. Absolutely. Go back to the HBK in Pittsburgh, back to back. Go to just the last 2 years in Tampa. That third lines win Stanley Cups. If you don't have a good third line, you ain't coming close to winning a Stanley Cup. So New Jersey's got an interesting thing in front of them. I don't know if it's going to play out that way, but I thought it was a really nice deal to get Jack for 8x8.
Speaking of third lines, the guy could really help out some other people's third lines, maybe even the second line. Top six, Jake DeBrusk apparently has asked for a trade out of Boston. This guy, former 27 goal scorer, like he's flirted with 30, and it just quite hasn't been able to put it all together since then. What's going on with Jake, man?
Yeah, he hasn't panned out probably the way they wanted him to. He's not getting the ice time from his standpoint that he thinks he should probably get to kind of play out of this. It's been ongoing for a while. I think that you're going to have a point. It's at a point here with Jake DeBrusk where he's asked to be moved. I think the team wants to move him. They don't really have a place for him. I mean, even when you look at Brad Marchand being out with the suspension for the slew foot, it didn't elevate Jake DeBrusk minutes. He got into the lineup. He still played 10 minutes last night against Detroit. So it's like they're not even really necessarily marketing him to other teams. So I don't know. Jake DeBrusk he's someone I'd take a flyer on.
I would for sure.
He makes a decent amount where it may be tough, but if you can find a way to get Boston to maybe retain some of it, I think what's holding anything up here, I know it's been kind of new where this news has come out, is I think Boston needs a roster player that's going to make an impact because they need secondary scoring. They don't have it. They don't have it right now. So if they're going to lose Jake DeBrusk, they need somebody else to plug in there that could have the potential to go from lines 3 to 2 and provide something. And right now, I think they're getting futures. They're going to get a pick. They're going to get, something. They're not getting much. Maybe they're asking too much right now, but there's teams out there. I mean, when you talk Edmonton Oilers, if Edmonton can find a way to swing something like this, get another guy who's got an upside here. You mentioned the goals he scored already in the NHL. He's got potential. He doesn't have consistency. That's normal for young players, but especially big young players. It takes a little bit of time to realize, like, hey, I'm a man. I could do whatever I want to do out here. So, Jake, it's worth the risk. I don't think there's much risk, put it that way. If you can get Jake DeBrusk, fit him under the cap there, Edmonton would be a team. Pittsburgh would be a team. I don't know if Pittsburgh can do it. I mean, with the cap, what are you going to do? But Jake DeBrusk, this team, we talk about him all the time, has to start. One eye's got to be on now, and one eye's got to be on the future here. And Jake DeBrusk is still young. He's played a lot of hockey. He's got a high ceiling. We just don't know what he's going to pan out to be. I think it's worth kicking the tires on that guy.
What do you think it takes, Roper, to get him?
Whoa, Jesus. Do you hear that? I originally thought, I'll tell you what, today, if I give you guys my schedule today, I don't even know I can't even believe I'm standing up or sitting upright right now. But anyways, if you were, I don't know. I was thinking is it a third rounder? That's clearly not enough for Boston because I think they've been offered something on those lines.
I would imagine.
You think a second's too much?
I can maybe deal with, I can stomach given a second, but the thing is, I think this team wants a pick and a prospect, and or not, sorry, not a prospect, a pick and a roster player. That's a little too sweet, because
That's the thing.
I guess it depends
when
salary.
Yeah, when teams know that he wants out too, that changes everything.
Yeah, it changes everything.
If you're trying to get rid of a guy and he doesn't know about it, it's a lot different than when a guy comes out and says, "Get me fucking out of here."
If you're selling a car and you're like, "I hate this piece of shit.
Yeah,
I want to get rid of this thing," I'm not going to come in there and offer you. Dude, hey, hold on. I'm not calling Jake DeBrusque a piece of shit. I like this kid. I think he's going to be a good player. I'm just saying, once that hits the ears of other people, GMs, to be specific, they're sharks in the water, man.
When you're calling teams to move a guy rather than teams calling you looking for a guy, everything changes.
Everything changes, man. Everything changes. So,
a couple just real quick notes before we get out of here that I saw interesting, kind of fun fact type of stuff. Philip Forsberg with a nasty goal last night, 1 of 4 that he netted for the Preds, who seem to have found their game and have been playing much better lately. And Gumpy, your stars and one of my favorite players in the league, Rupe Hintz, scored the NHL's 24th and 25th hat tricks of the 2021-22 season. That goal from Forsberg, I think it was his second.
Ridiculous,
was unbelievable.
Right? Unreal.
That seems like a guy who's just got so much talent, and for whatever reason, it's like it feels like he just can't be the guy. Like if he was riding shotgun with somebody somewhere, I feel like he'd be over a point a game player almost.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's true. I mean, this is a guy that has when he gets hot, he could run with anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, when he gets hot, I mean, he gets as hot as Ovi, as Austin Matthews. I mean, when he gets going, he gets going. Consistency has been a little bit of a thing for him, but I don't know if that's, I played with, this came up earlier today when we were talking about it. I played with Patty Eliash in New Jersey. The guy scored 96 goals 96 goals, 96 points the one season in the NHL. That's playing in New Jersey with the trap, the boring style, the no offense. What would that have translated to if he was at a team that actually wanted to play offensively? Is 96 translate to 110? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what that means. That's what Nashville has always played. Phil Forsberg has scored goals. He hasn't done it consistently, but at the end of the year, he's always right around that 30 range. What does that mean if he was playing in, I don't know, Chicago? Or what does that mean if he was playing in Pittsburgh? You know what I mean? Does that 30 become 40? Does that become 45? I mean, we don't know. He's never played with a true number one center. Ryan Johansson was supposed to be that. It hasn't really worked out. So I don't know. This is a really tough spot. They've got big dollars tied up in Duchesne, who's been awesome this year. They have big money tied up in Ryan Johansson. They got big money tied up in Roman Josi. This guy's a pending UFA. He's going to demand easy. He's an easy 8.5, easy every day at that. Like, he's maybe 9. Maybe there's a team that's like, I want him at 9.5. I don't know if he prices himself out of Nashville. This season will kind of show that. I don't think Nashville could afford to lose him, but with some of those other contracts, I don't know if they can afford to keep him. So Phil Forsberg is going to be a really interesting one, because I don't know if we've seen the ceiling on him. He hasn't played the system of a team that promotes scoring goals, and he hasn't played with a center that kind of plays that way.
He's a stud, man. I love his game. And like you said, it just seems like it's all about, it's like kind of the same thing we talk about with the Brusque, finding that consistency and being able to just, because it seems like Forsberg is a guy who competes every night. It's just a matter of, will he find the back of the net every night? And then the other thing I saw, which was just kind of cool, we talked about it briefly, but that insane ending in the Florida and the Capitals game the other night, shout out to the coin. This was the second night in NHL history to feature 3 teams that each scored goals in a span of 11 seconds or less. The Lightning did it. I think they had 2 goals in 5 seconds, I believe it was, for Tampa. Nashville had 2 goals in, I think, 11 seconds, and Washington had 2 goals in a very, very, very short span in that game against the Panthers. There was a lot of – last night was crazy night in the league, I feel like. Just crazy, weird things happening.
No, it's true, man. That third period – that's amazing.
Oh, shit.
What was that just played?
Whoops.
That was so good. I don't even know what it was, but I loved
The
it.
fucking Ty Dolla $ign, dude.
Yeah, it's
a
like
bang.
it was
It
like
was a
our
banger.
intro. It was like our intro music. It was Stone
That was
Cold.
a banger.
I was pumped. I liked it. But you know what? That third period, I don't know if I've seen a third period like that ever. I mean, definitely not lately. I haven't seen a third period like that. The Florida Panthers absolutely taking the screws to the Washington Capitals. What'd you say, Gumps? What was that? 26-2 in shots?
26-2. How?
I don't.
Against the Washington team like that? That is fucking insane.
It was not a game to write home about for the Panthers prior, but that third period makes me think there's something special. There's something special
something's
going on
cooking.
there.
Something's cooking.
Something's definitely
I'm standing
cooking there.
firm on Tampa Bay, but Panthers Stars Stanley Cup finally ain't looking too bad right now. Boy.
Of course, the Stars. Shout out to Bones. Bones will bring them to the finals there against the Florida Panthers. I love it.
Shout out to Bones. I meant to do this right after we had Bones on, but I forgot. It's on me. I'm bad host. You're live, but are you living? Shout out to SeatGeek, our sponsor. Go to the link in the description in this YouTube live. You could save up to 15. You can save 15% off of any NHL game you want to. Go get tickets. Go see a game live. It's the best sport to go see live and experience. Up to 50% or $50 off. And 15% off of your purchase. Shout out SeatGeek. We appreciate those guys. Boys, any last words here, final thoughts before we sign off into the night and get ready for this Pens Oilers matchup at 10 p.m. The league's best and most known players and super talented players, elite players of this world has ever seen. We're putting them on at 10 on a Wednesday night.
Yeah. No,
7 o'clock. 7 o'clock special on the West Coast, boy.
We gotta
That's
be
West
better.
Coast living right
No. We gotta be
That's
better.
West Coast
We gotta be
living
better,
right there,
man.
boy.
This is hold on. Then another little side note: TNT's first game of Connor and Sid together on the ice. This is not going to last forever. Although I think Sidney Crosby can play for a very long time and be dominant for a very long time. It's not going to last forever. Why is Wayne Gretzky not on the broadcast tonight? He better be. I might be wrong. Maybe he is. Maybe he's going to call in. Maybe he's going to do a guest hit. But Wayne has to be on this. Like, it's TNT. They got Wayne Gretzky for games like this. I want this game to now start being. Tell Edmonton and Edmonton fans, we're putting this game on at 6 o'clock because we're putting it at 8 o'clock East Coast. We need everybody watching this matchup. I think they dropped the ball in this one.
Yeah, hey, Wayne's missed a couple lately. I don't know if he was only signed on to just do a handful of spots here and there, or if we wrongly assumed that he was going to be there every night. But I haven't seen him on there as much lately. You're right; he's got to be on there, and this is something that the league should be pushing for. Hey, we got to find a way to have. Yeah, I understand the Western trip for the Penguins. I understand there's some certain issues, but I think if you want to grow and you want to become as popular, you see the money that's being handed out to baseball and football players and basketball players. Of course, they you got to generate the revenue to be able to pay those guys those insane contracts. How do you generate that revenue? You generate interest by showcasing and catering to your star players. This isn't doing that. This is just good old boy hockey back in the day.
It's every league at this point, though. It's not. It really is. Like, you saw, people were up baseball's ass for the World Series games starting at 8:30, going till 1 a.m. You look at the MLS Cup. The semifinals of your season are being played Saturday night against college championship games and Sunday night against the NFL.
Yeah.
Go during the week. There is fucking nothing else during the week.
And maybe it is. We've talked about a little bit.
Every fucking league. Like, just take a look. If you're thinking the MLS, it has grown. It is a decent league at this point. How you don't have somebody going, we cannot go up against Alabama, Georgia, and Chiefs Broncos. we might not have a chance here.
No, it's true.
Like, come on, guys.
And
Christ.
I'm crossing my fingers. This is TNT's first year. This is ESPN's first year having hockey back in a long time, and ESPN's done some good things already. ESPN Plus has been huge for people getting access and everything. Maybe it is TNT with early in the season. Hey, we got to put hockey on late. Maybe I'm hoping that as the season gets closer to the playoffs, we start to see more like 7:30, 8 p.m. type games getting showcased on the national Wednesday night slot. And especially for us, that'd be good for this show too, because we could do some live watch along type conversation.
Well, it was Canucks Senators was the early game too. They didn't want to bump that.
Naturally, shout out to your Canucks up 3-1 on the
Luke Schenn, first goal of the year.
Wow, good for
Luke. Canucks are quietly actually playing better hockey. They played well against the Bruins the other night too.
Well, there's only so many.
They beat the Habs.
There's only so many you can lose. You got to win some at some point.
Eventually you got to start winning, right?
That's the way it works. So, all right, boys, let's call it a night. Let's go get ready for that 10 p.m. game, which I will definitely stay up for all through periods, even if it is Sid and Connor. I will do my best. Shout out to everyone in the chat who followed along with us tonight. I saw the chat was getting raucous in there. I saw a bunch of the boys from the office in there as well. Shout out to our guest Rick Bowness on that incredible achievement of 2,500 games coached in the Stars, turning things around, getting hot lately. Rupper, shout out to you for great guest booking another week. Just a great solid guest. We appreciate that, and you staying up with us after that busy ass day you had.
Yeah, no, man. It was awesome. Great being back with you guys. Enjoy that game tonight. And yeah, man, we'll be back next week.
We will be back next week. We appreciate everybody. Thank you so much. Be a friend, tell them to subscribe to the YouTube. Tell them to listen if they can't watch live. You can watch the replay or listen anywhere podcasts are found. That's all out there on every podcast app. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for rocking with us. And that's Hockey Talk.